Good evening. Welcome to tonight's episode of Historical Newsroom. On tonight's edition, we will be focusing our attention on the legendary Tsar of Russia, Peter the Great. So lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
First of all, tell me about your recent travels to Western Europe. Why did you want to spend your time traveling there?
Well, as the first Tsar ever to travel to other countries, I wanted to expand my knowledge and also gain support from the more civilized Western countries in Europe, which I admire.
Someone from our investigative team sat down with a nobleman from Peter the Great's entourage in Western Europe. Let's see what he had to say.
He traveled to a lot of places in Western Europe and learned a lot of different types of innovation. For example, he went to Holland to further enrich his knowledge on shipbuilding, and Netherlands to learn Dutch, taking lessons in dancing, writing, and fencing. Not satisfied with the amount of things that he had learned, he spent his birthday at Preobrazhenskoe, enjoying practicing targeting and gun salutes. If there wasn't a revolt back in Russia that he had to take care of, he would have continued to travel and learn new and interesting technologies.
How did you interpret these skills and knowledge to reform your country?
Returning back to my country, I saw how old-fashioned and medieval the culture and technology in our country and my countrymen were. So seeing how backward my country was, I ought to reform it, not only to make it a better place, but also to prevent it from being the target of other European expansions. So I plan to take action by importing and exporting trade goods to boost up the economy, sending my people out to the West to learn, and also changing the style of clothing to be more similar to those of Western Europe. Also, if I see my boyars keeping their long beards, I will grab them and cut them off myself. To let them know my determination, I will levy taxes on them if they still keep their beard.
And now, I'd like to talk about your participation in the Great Northern War. Tell me, what was your goal in participating in this war?
First of all, I wanted to expand Russia's territory and make it a great power in Eastern Europe. And also, I had my eyes on the Baltic coast where I can build a fort for military construction.
We also sat down with Charles XII of Sweden, the Russian Tsar's enemy, on the battlefield.
So what happened during the war?
At the start of the war in 1699, Peter signed a secret treaty with Poland and Denmark to attack us, Sweden. With confidence, they thought that they could take advantage of our scattered territories, but apparently they had underestimated us, and they suffered huge losses. So they tried another method, making peace, but we refused in 1707. By 1708, however, Peter turned the tide during our final attack by destroying my main auxiliary, crops, and the city on my way, making it impossible for us to supply our troops with soldiers or resources. And when we daringly besieged Poltava in 1709 with greatly outnumbered troops, Peter easily defeated us, and thus ending the war with their victory.
Did you make any improvements on the Russian army over the course of the war?
I enlarged my army by requiring all landowners to serve in the military for some time, and also all conscripted peasants to complete a 25-year term. Also, I imported weapons from other parts of Europe and recruited foreigners to serve in my army. As a result, I now have a standing army of 200,000 and a Russian Navy and a Baltic fleet, which I founded.
What was the reason behind the creation of St. Petersburg?
Well, there's a number of reasons. I wanted to build a city that would serve as a window to the Western world in architecture and structure. And also, it was a matter of convenience. The city would be right at the intersection of the Baltic Sea and the Neva River, serving as a seaport.
St. Petersburg was built by many hardworking people, and we talked to one former peasant who told us all about the process.
Well, every summer, 25,000 to 40,000 of us peasants were drafted to help build St. Petersburg for 3 months without pay, and our friends and family back home had to pay a special tax to feed us. Many of us took the risk of running away because of the high casualty rate from hunger, sickness, and accidents, and St. Petersburg was hence nicknamed the city built on bones. Tsar Peter wanted a modern city, complete with paved roads, canals, parks, and street lighting, and it couldn't have happened without us.
But tell me, why did you make St. Petersburg the capital?
For obvious reasons. It's a city I'm very proud of, and I think all Russia should be proud of. Russia had long been plagued by a sense of backwardness. I figured forcing them into a new environment more similar to that of the rest of Europe would help change that.